Hello friends, in continuation of the instructional videos on the H100 inverter, today we want to get familiar with another feature of this inverter. The feature we want to talk about today is ACC DEC time switch frequency. What is this feature? For example, consider a water well when the well's submersible pump wants to start operating at the beginning. It is necessary to have a very short ACC, so that the submersible pump can be released at a very high speed at the start. It spins at a high speed and after it reaches a certain frequency, from that point on it operates with a higher ACC until it ultimately reaches our designated command frequency. Now, the various parameters that we can meticulously adjust within this particular feature are precisely as follows. For example, please pay close attention to this detailed diagram. When we press the start button, we send the run command to the inverter. At the beginning, we specify a frequency in the advanced parameter 60. For example, we set it to 30 Hz. In base 70, we specify the initial ACC time, which is the time it takes to go from 0 up to the 30 Hz that we set in advanced parameter 60. We set how many seconds it takes to reach that, and when it gets to advanced parameter 60, meaning the value of 30 Hz from there up to the command frequency. For example, if we've set it to 50 Hz, we then set how many seconds it should take to reach that. Usually in submersible pumps, we set this initial time to be short. They consider it short so that the pump can be released easily. And after it reaches this frequency, it can move more smoothly and reach the command frequency. So the settings that we need to configure, at the beginning, we need to specify the frequency that the inverter for the two ACC DECs should have. That is, from 0 up to that frequency, there should be one acceleration ACC. From that frequency up to the command frequency, there should also be a second acceleration ACC. The first ACE, meaning from 0 up to this advanced 60 frequency, is set by base 70, that is, in parameter base 70. You specify ACC time 1, which determines how many seconds it takes to reach advanced 60. After it reaches this advanced frequency, for example, from 60 to 30 Hz, the time it takes to reach the command frequency is set in parameter DRV03, which is our main ACC time, so we have two ACC times. One is base 70, which sets the value for advanced 60 from 0 to advanced 60 and usually covers a short period of time. In this feature, they consider things like releasing the pump and so on. From advanced 60, the frequency value we set in advanced 60 up to our command frequency, its ACC, is also set. DRV 0.3 in stop mode as well, from the command frequency back down to advanced 60. For example, we set it to 30 Hz. That becomes DRV 0.4, which is our main deceleration time from advanced 60 down to 0. Hertz becomes base 71, meaning the DEC time too is different. Well, but an important point you need to keep in mind with this feature is that you must absolutely set the base 08 of yours, which determines what your ACC and DEC time should be referenced to. It must be set to delta mode. It should no longer be the maximum frequency, meaning for each command frequency, you have a specific ACC and DC. So the parameters we decided to set, one of them became base 70. ACC, time 1 is set to DRV03. That's the same ACC. Our main time, which is from the frequency we set in advanced 60 to the next command frequency, becomes DRV04 when stopping. And DEC time 1 and base 72 as well. And the value of that frequency, that is it supposed to exchange in that ACC time, meaning should my ACC value change or should my DEC value change? This is also specified in parameter advanced 60. And we also mentioned the important point that the base page, our reference for ACC and DEC time, must definitely be set to delta mode. In this instructional video, the example we want to do together is to set base 70 to 3 seconds. Advanced 60. The frequency value from which my ACC value is supposed to change, we want to set it to 30 Hz. So for 3 seconds, the ACC value up to the second time, 10 seconds command frequency. We want to set it to 1 in the DRV or 1 through the keypad. 50 Hz in the DRV01. We are supposed to set the first DEC time value to 10 seconds, and for bias 71, the second DEC time value to 3 seconds, meaning from 0 to 30. It's supposed to go from 0 to 30 Hz in 3 seconds, from 30 to 50 in 10 seconds, and when stopping from 50 Hz down to 30 Hz in 10 seconds, and from 30 Hz to 0 Hz in 3 seconds. All the settings we've learned so far, let's apply them on this inverter and test this feature together. So, as we said, in order to use the ACC DEC change frequency feature, the first thing we need to do is go to parameter base 08 and set our team mode or the ACC and DEC reference to the delta mode or option 1. Was it 1? Anyway, as we said, in base 70, we set our first ACC time. We go to parameter base 70. We said we want our first ACC time to be 3 seconds, so we set it to 3 and confirm it. In base 71, it's the deceleration time. That was our second time, meaning from when it reaches a frequency of 30 Hz, from 30 Hz down to 0 Hz in how many seconds. It should do that. We said we'll also set that to 3, so we set it to 3 and confirm it. Our next parameter we said is the advanced setting, the frequency value before and after which the ACC and DEC will change. We said in this video we want to set it to 30, so we set it to 30 and adjust it. The next parameter we need to set, as we mentioned, is the second ACC and the first DEC. The second ACC from 30 Hz up to 50 Hz. We said we'll set it to 10 seconds, and the first DEC from 50 Hz down to 30 Hz will also set to 10 seconds. We'll set DEC up to DRV04 to 10 seconds as well. So, as we said, we want to set our command frequency. We set the value of 50 Hz in parameter DRV01 and give it to the inverter. Now, if I start this inverter, it will go from 0 to 30 Hz in 3 seconds and from 30 to 50 Hz in 10 seconds. I start the inverter and you see it took 3 seconds to reach 30 Hz, and from frequency 30 to 50 it takes 10 seconds. Now it has reached 50 Hz. If I stop the inverter, from 50 Hz down to 30 Hz, it takes 10 seconds, and from 30 Hz down to 0, it takes 3 seconds. I set this on the inverter. When I stop the inverter, you can see that the frequency value starts to decrease. It takes 10 seconds to reach 30 Hz, and once it gets to 30 Hz, it takes 3 seconds to reach 0. You can see that in 3 seconds, my frequency dropped from 30 to 0 Hz. So in this instructional video, we got familiar with the ACC DEC time change frequency feature together.